Beyond the Bell, Bloomberg's comprehensive cross-platform coverage of the U.S. market close starts right now.
We are about 2 minutes away from the end of the trading day. Caroline Hyde, Sonali Basak, Kriti Gupta in for Taylor Riggs, counting you down to the closing bell right here, right now, to take us beyond that bell. It's a global simulcast. We've got Massar, Tim Stenovec bringing together Bloomberg TV, radio, and YouTube audiences worldwide to pass a day where Tesla has led us higher, but we get breaking news on Tesla as we speak regarding a probe into one of the key lieutenants or lieutenants, whether you're UK or US based, of Tesla. Really internal probe scrutinizing an executive in the office of the CEO, planning to part ways with Afshar, one of the top Musk lieutenants, like aide, helper to one Elon Musk. And we understand the investigation is into a purchase order that has led to certain firings, all regarding glass. Supply chain issues, they get everywhere, Carol.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this certainly plays to one of the bigger, broader stories of the day. But I think about, I'm just taking a look at what's going on in shares of Tesla, and it doesn't seem like investors, at least at this point, are noticing maybe we need some more detail to understand what could be the implications and if there's any kind of material impact financially on the company. Stock's still up about 9.7%, Tim.
Yeah, this has investors weigh that better than expected quarter yesterday, and the commentary, too, from Elon Musk about how the company is faring. Kriti, I want to just let you know, we spoke to Marcy McGregor, who said, taking a step back and thinking about the bigger picture here, don't get too excited about this rally that we've been seeing. She thinks it's a relief rally within a bear market. Sentiment is so bearish. And she comes from the Chief Investment Office of Merrill and Bank of America Private Bank.
You know, it's funny, Tim, we were talking about Quincy Crosby about just that. She issued some caution as well, but I have to ask, to what extent is so much bearishness actually a sign of bullishness, Caroline?
Well, yeah, is bad news good news? Are we going higher in the equities because of earnings are looking better than feared, or is it that jobless claims are rolling over somewhat? We have the S&P 500 currently up almost a percentage point. They're ringing in the bells, and 39 points is where we're going to settle out at 3,999. 4,000, clearly very much a technical level of resistance there. We see the Nasdaq 161 points higher at the moment, 1.4%. Dow Jones is up just 0.5%, 162 points to the higher side. Let's pull out and have a look at what the Russell 2000, what small caps fared like, because they were your underperformer, but even at the end of the day, we suddenly catch some wind. We're up 0.5%. It is a third day of gains on some of these major indexes. But overall, we are going to be looking at what's happening across this breaking news. And of course, we do want to be digging in a little bit about, well, what this market has made of it, Carol.
Yeah, well, I'm scratching my head here. Here we are closing at our highs of the day. I'm just looking at home builders, which were down more than 2% earlier after D.R. Horton cut its home sales forecast. We've got higher mortgage rates. There's a lot of dynamics against the home and housing market, and yet we see investors moving into those home builder stocks up about 2.7% today, guys.
You really train the eye on the home builders. Let's train our eye on that breaking news coming from Tesla. An internal probe scrutinizing, well, an executive in the office of the CEO. The man behind that scoop is one Ed Ludlow. Talk us through it.
Yeah, so according to sources, there was a procurement order generated earlier this year for some glass. And inside of Tesla, legal representatives are looking into where this procurement order generated from. And frankly, what sources tell us is that Omid Afshar is a part of that investigation. The thinking is, although we don't have detail if there is any wrongdoing or not, that he will be put on leave as a part of this investigation. And sources tell us that a part of what the investigators are looking at is whether the glass in question was for personal use by Elon Musk. So it was a PO put through the company, but they're looking at a question. They haven't come to a decision, according to sources, about whether this was for Musk's own personal use in a personal construction project.
Now, Mr. Afshar, you've written, was something of a fixer for Mr. Musk. What's really at stake here for an investigation like this?
Yeah, so I reiterate that this is an internal investigation. It's something that's being looked at by Tesla personnel. But Omid Afshar is essentially Elon Musk's right-hand man. He was kind of the overseer of the construction of the plant in Austin, Texas. And since that construction was completed and it's gone through production, he's also overseen that process as well. And in interviews he's given in the past, and it is well known within Tesla, he's kind of had a number of jobs. In his earlier days, he worked in the office of the CEO as basically an executive assistant. Then he was kind of promoted to the director of special projects within that group. So he does a lot of work. He kind of has hands in everything. But sources tell us that as part of this investigation into a PO that was suspicious, that Omid Afshar is also being looked at as part of that investigation or consideration, and that, according to sources, they're planning to put him on leave in the coming days or weeks.
Ed, any idea what the glass was used for, if it was indeed for a personal project for Elon Musk? I mean, glass, we think of this in terms of automotive, like obviously used for cars, but in many cases could be used in the construction of a factory, for example.
Yeah, so the factory in Austin has a lot of glass around the outside of it. Tesla also plans to expand the footprint of that factory, right? Make it bigger, build it out. It's a massive plot. All we know so far, and according to sources, is that this procurement order was generated much earlier in the year. It was flagged to Tesla's internal audit and finance group. It was considered to be suspicious, and that those groups carried out the normal function of an internal audit and finance group, and it's now being looked at by legal too.
Ed, I don't want to make, too many assumptions here, but if it was Elon Musk, what of him?
Repeat the question, Caro.
What of him? What of Elon Musk if it's for his personal use?
Yeah, so all I can say is that Bloomberg put requests for comment in to Elon Musk, several Tesla representatives. We haven't heard anything back from Elon Musk or Tesla representatives. But as I say, according to sources, what the investigators are looking at was that this was a PO put through the company, but that ultimately the glass was destined for use in a non-Tesla project, a non-Tesla construction project. And one of the things they're looking at is whether it was to be used in a project linked to Elon Musk personally. Whether that's a personal home or other project, we don't know. But those are the facts as we have them from sources.
That's Bloomberg's Ed Ludlow. Thank you so much. And joining us for your scoop, recapping, there is an internal investigation going on inside of Tesla now, and which has led to some firing of employees in relation to the probe. But part of the probe involves the use of glass purchased by Tesla, potentially used by Elon Musk. So a lot of single name stories out there on some of the biggest tech auto companies out there. The question is, what do these headlines mean for the companies themselves?
And for the executives. Meanwhile, of course, Tesla was riding high today on the back of its earnings. Let's get to more earnings right now. Mattel, toy maker, second quarter adjusted earnings per share, 18 cents. Well ahead of the 6.6 estimate, Carol. Net sales, 1.24 billion. Again, it beats. They see full year net sales to be up 8 to 10%, and their gross margin going to actually be on the higher side, 47 to 48% for their full year adjusted gross margin. They'd previously seen about 47%. Capital expenditure going to be $175 to $200 million, basically in line with the expectations. But this is strong coming from Mattel. Yeah,
and you've definitely seen that reflected in the share price this year. It's up about 12% so far in 2022. This is a company that has really figured out its supply chains, its product mix. Aren't they working with Elon Musk? Speaking of Elon Musk, right, in terms of a partnership on toys. I mean, they are very good with partnerships, whether it's for the kid audience or whether it's for the adult audience, and they've been able to really kind of grow top and bottom line as a result, guys.
Yeah, I think that is really crucial what you brought about the supply chains. If you actually talk about their rival, Hasbro, has been very vocal about trying to actually get in front of nearshoring, the idea of bringing some of their supply chains from China over to like the Mexico or Canada, for example. I think that's really crucial that Mattel has the upper hand.
Ynon Kreiz, the company's CEO, he's going to be joining us on Bloomberg Radio tomorrow. He said the first half of the year was an outstanding period of growth for the company. We are benefiting from strong retail partnerships and look forward to meeting the projected increase in consumer demand for our product as we enter the second half of the year and the all-important holiday season. As the owner of one of the strongest portfolios of children's and family entertainment franchises in the world, we are excited by the opportunities to capture the full value of our IP, Sonali.
Yeah, you're seeing Mattel shares now turn negative. Also, I do want to point out that even though there is some bright spots here, it is still a decrease of 310 basis points in its gross margin. And again, the constant currency also being a bit of a headwind here when you're looking at Mattel. Again, it's going to be a push-pull all earnings season, guys, on whether bad news is as bad as expected or whether they're escaping some of these broader macro issues that are plaguing just about everybody.
Well pointed out. This is, of course, a company that has to navigate inflation, I sort of feel toys are recession-proof to a certain extent, because when a kid's asking for something, a kid's asking for something.
It's not Christmas yet.
Yeah. but at the moment, we do see sort of a flurry of companies that, once again, is it just the bad news is baked in some way?
Yeah, and I think what's also interesting, I mean, let's just put some numbers to that cross-currency fluctuation that you two were just talking about. The idea that their revenue would have been 4 percentage points higher if not for those fluctuations. That is an enormous amount for a toy company.
Well, and I think I would go back to the gross margin, right? Coming in just a hair light. But nonetheless, this is something Gina Martin Adams talks about, the ability for companies to maintain their margins. We continue to see more pressures on that. All right, folks, that's going to do it for our cross-platform coverage on radio, TV, and YouTube. We call it Beyond the Bell. We will see you again, same time, same place tomorrow.